Kunjabi Hari Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Jnanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamaham Kadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagradatam Sahagana Radhanatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Nama Om Vishwapadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyari Paschacharine Vanchakapatriyascha Kipasindhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashta Prayeshva Madreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Grantaraj Śrimad Bhagāvatam ki jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shiva Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande. Josan. Happy Tuesday.
星期二愉快。
We're reading from Śrimad Bhagāvatam, Canto 1, Chapter 7, The Son of Drona Punished, verse number 9.
今日我哋一齊讀到聖典博雅談第一篇第7章 Drona 的兒子受到懲罰第9節詩。
Shaunaka uvacha
Shaunaka uvacha
Savai nivritti nirata
Savai nivritti nirata
Savai nivritti nirata
Savai nivritti nirata
Sarvatro pekshako muni
Sarvatro pekshako muni
Sarvatro pekshako muni
Sarvatro pekshako muni
Kasya va brihatim etam
Kasya va brihatim ektam
Kasya va brihatim etam
Kasya va brihatim ektam
Atma Rama samabhyasat
Atma Rama samabhyasat
Atma Rama samabhyasat
Atma Rama samabhyasat
Savai nivritti nirata Sarvatro pekshako muni
Savatro pekshako muni
Kasya va brihatim etam
Kasya va brihatim ektam
Atma Rama samabhyasat
Atma Rama samabhyasat
Shaunaka uvacha
Shaunaka uvacha
Savai nivritti nirata
Savai nivritti nirata
Sarvatro peksho muni
Savatro pekshako muni
Kasya va brihatim ekam
Kasya va brihatim ektam
Mara samhayasya
Atma Rama samabhyasat Shaunaka uvacha Savai nivritti nirata Savatro pekshako muni Kasya va brihatim ektam Atma Rama samabhyasat
Savai nivritti nirata
Savai nivritti nirata
Savatro pekshako muni
Savatro pekshako muni
Kasya va brihatim ektam
Atma Rama samabhyasat Shaunaka uvacha Savai nivritti nirata Savatro pekshako muni Kasya va brihatim ektam Atma Rama samabhyasat Savai nivritti nirata Savatro pekshako muni Kasya va brihatim ektam Atma Rama samabhyasat.
Okay. So, Shaunaka uvacha.
Shaunaka uvacha.
Sri Shaunaka asked.
Sri Shaunaka asked, sing Shaunaka Sut.
Sa
Hi ta
vai.
vai.
Of course.
Of course, 當然
Nivritti.
Nivritti.
On the path of self-realization.
On the path of self-realization， 在自我覺悟的路途上。
Nirata.
Nirata.
always engaged.
always engage 總是從事於
Sarvatra,
Sarvatra
in every respect.
in every respect 在各方面
Upekshaka,
Upekshakaha
indifference.
indifference 不關心的
Muni,
Muni
sage.
sage 聖人
Kasya,
Kasya
for what reason?
for what reason 為了什麼原因
Va,
Va
or,
或
wa. Brihatim,
Brihatim
vast.
vast 龐大的
Etam,
Ektam
this.
this 這
Atma arama,
Atmaramaha
one who is pleased in himself.
was pleased in himself 一個自我取悅的人
Samabhyasat,
Samabhyasat
undergo the studies.
undergo the studies 通過研究
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: Sri Shonaka asked Sutta Goswami, Sri Shukadev Goswami was already on the path of self-realization, and thus he was pleased with his own self. So why did he take the trouble to undergo the study of such a vast literature?
譯文聖 Shonaka 問 Sutta Goswami 道：聖 Shukadev Goswami 已經穩定地走在自我覺悟自我的路途上，因此從自我獲得了快樂。那他為什麼還要不辭勞苦地學習這部卷疊浩繁的文獻呢？
Purport: For the people in general, the highest perfection of life is to cease from material activities and be fixed on the path of self-realization.
要指普通人所能達到的生命最高的完美境界是停止物質活動，穩定地走覺悟自我的路。
Those who take pleasure in sense enjoyment, or those who are fixed in material bodily welfare work, are called karmis.
從感官享樂的活動中獲取快樂的人，以及專注於與物質軀體有關嘅福利事業嘅人，都被稱為功利性活動者 karmis。
Out of thousands and millions of such karmis, one may become an Atma-rama by self-realization.
在千百萬這樣的功利活動者當中，也許會有一個人靠覺悟自我，成為從靈性自我獲得快樂的人 Atma-rama。
Atma means self, and arama means to take pleasure.
梵文 Atma 的意思係自我 ，arama 嘅意思係取得快樂。
Everyone is searching after the highest pleasure, but the standard of pleasure of one may be different from the standard of another.
每一個人都在尋找最高嘅快樂，但每一個人嘅快樂標準並不一樣。
Therefore, the standard of pleasure enjoyed by the karmis is different from that of the Atma-ramas.
因此，功利性活動者嘅快樂標準不同於從靈性自我獲得快樂嘅人嘅快樂標準。
The Atma-ramas are completely indifferent to material enjoyment in every respect.
從靈性自我獲得快樂嘅人，與物質享樂者喺各方面都完全不同。
Srila Shukadeva Goswami had already attained that stage, and still he was attracted to undergo the trouble of studying the great Bhagāvatam literature.
聖 Sukade Goswami 已經達到了從靈性自我獲得快樂嘅境界，但佢仲係不辭勞苦地研究非凡嘅文獻聖典博加雅談，並樂此不疲。
Sometimes your microphone
Yeah,
works
because
and sometimes
the
doesn't.
battery it's running out. Thank you.
This means that Śrimad Bhagāvatam is a postgraduate study, even for the Atma Ramas who have surpassed all the studies of Vedic knowledge.
這意味住，甚至對嗰啲靈性自我獲得快樂，並已經學習了所有其他偉大知識嘅人嚟講，聖典莫加雅談都係更加高嘅學習內容，研究生嘅學習內容。
So ends Srila Prabhupada's purport. Shonaka uvacha savai nivritti nirata sarvatro pekshako muni kasya va prihatim etam atma rama samabhyasat. Shri Shonaka asked Sutta Goswami, Shri Shukadeva Goswami was already on the path of self-realization, and thus he was pleased with his own self. So why did he take the trouble to undergo the study of such a vast literature?
聖蘇那卡問 Sutta Goswami 道：聖 Sukade Goswami 已經穩定地走在覺悟自我嘅路途上，因此從自我獲得了快樂。那為什麼他還要不辭勞苦地學習這部卷冽浩繁嘅文獻呢？
The previous verse was, you could say, the last of a short series of important verses, preparing us for following in the footsteps of Parikshit Maharaj and studying the Bhagavatam.
喺之前嘅幾個詩節咧，係一組嘅詩節咧，去到準備咧，讓到我哋去追隨住 Parikshit 王嘅步伐啦，去到研習聖典博加雅談。
And in that verse, Shukadeva, is kind of introduced as the son of Vyasa.
咁 Sukade Goswami 咧，佢咧係被去到介紹啦，就係佢作為 Srila Vyasadeva 嘅兒子。
And Shuka is described as Nivritti Niratam, as one who is engaged on the path of self-realization.
咁 Sukade Goswami 咧被稱為呢一個 Nivritti Nirata， 意思咧就係佢總係咧從事於喺覺悟自我嘅路途上面。
The word, this phrase, Nivritti Nirata, comes again in today's verse, describing again Shukadeva.
咁呢一個呢一組嘅字 Nivritti Nirata 喺上一個詩字亦都有提到嘅，今日呢一個詩字咧又再出現。
So it seems that Shonaka Rishi has been very attentive. He's been listening well as Sutta Goswami has been describing, making this, using this phrase in the previous verse.
所以證明咧 Shonaka Rishi 呢位聖人咧，佢好留心咁樣聆聽 Sutta Goswami 嘅講嘅説話啦，所以咧喺第9節詩嘅時候咧，重複翻Sutta Goswami 所講嘅呢一組字 Nivritti Nirata。
So in this verse that we've just read, Shonaka is asking a reasonable question.
我哋啱啱讀到嘅呢一個詩詞咧 ，Shaunaka Rishi 咧問咗一個好合理嘅一個問題。
You could say he's saying, wait, how is this possible? Why would Shukadeva Goswami, if he's already engaged, he's already reached self-satisfaction, Atmarama, why would he bother to study the Bhagāvatam? So much trouble.
佢就問咗一個問題就係、等一等。Shukadeva Goswami 咧，佢已經係達到咗呢一個嘅覺悟自我啦，已經成為咗一個自我取悅嘅人啦。點解佢仲要花咁大嘅努力麻煩去到學習呢一部嘅文獻呢？
Here the Bhagāvatam is referred to as Etam Brihatim, this great work, or in English, a word that is not so often used for a large book is tome. This tome, it means a very big book.
呢度咧去描述聖典博加雅談咧用嘅梵文咧叫做 Ektam Brihatim， 咁咧英文就係 tome， 即係好浩大嘅、巨大浩瀚嘅文獻。
Nowadays, people are not so much interested in reading.
而家世代嘅人咧就唔係咁熱衷於閱讀。
In general, we offer them books and they go, read? I don't read books.
咁我哋俾書佢哋嘅時候咧，佢哋話：我唔睇書啊。
Even we offer them a small book. It's just a small book. No, that's too much for me.
就算係一本細書咧，佢哋都覺得哇，睇唔到落去啊。
So if you say, here, take Śrimad Bhagāvatam.
咁你想象下，俾成部聖典博加雅談佢。
What are you, crazy?
你係咪癲咗？
I don't. I can spend my time much better watching Netflix.
我可以咧睇呢個 Netflix 啊，仲開心啊！
So Etam Brihatim. Kasya, how is it possible? Why? Why would he do this?
咁佢就問我 Kasya， 即係點可能咧？
Because I looked up the word nivritti. Prabhupada says self-realization.
我查一查呢一個字咧 ，nivritti 咧，聖泡泡咧譯做咧自我覺悟。
More literally, it means ceasing or abstaining or desisting from something.
咁如果係字面嘅意思咧，就係去到停止啦、阻止啦、去到制止。
Ceasing from worldly acts.
從呢一個世俗嘅活動當中咧，係去抽離嘅。
Or it can mean simply inactivity.
或者咧不活動。
Or even rest.
休息。
And nirata, Srila Prabhupada translates as engaged.
Nirata 咧，聖泡泡翻譯為咧從事於。
And a more literal meaning is pleased.
字面嘅意思咧就係取悅。
So pleased with inaction, you could say, is nivritti nirata.
咁咧就係喺不活動當中咧得到快樂。
Or even devoted to inaction.
甚至咧係奉獻於不活動。
But also can mean deeply engaged in something. Deeply engaged in not doing anything.
咁咧就係深入地、深深地咧去到從事於不活動。
Yeah, and of course in the Gita, Krishna is saying that out of thousands of people, hardly anyone engages in disengagement.
咁Krishna 喺《Bhagāvatam》裏面講啦，有千百萬嘅人啦，但係好少咧有一個人咧係從呢一個嘅活動中咧係去抽離嘅。
Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye. Hardly one is endeavoring for siddha.
有好少人咧係去追求咧呢一個嘅完美。
Yatati means to endeavor.
Yatati 嘅意思咧就係去到努力。
And yatatam api siddhanam. Even so many siddhas, so many people who have reached this perfection, meaning in this context atmarama, self-satisfaction, yatatam api siddhanam, kaschin mam veti tattvata, hardly one knows me in truth.
咁就算喺呢一啲嘅已經去到自我滿足啦、取悅嘅人裏面咧，好少咧幾乎咧冇一個咧能夠去到真正咁樣了解我。
So Srila Prabhupada in the purport is speaking about this first stage. People in let's see. Out of thousands and millions of such karmis, one may become an Atmarama by self-realization. So that's becoming a siddha.
所以聖巴巴喺要旨裏面咧呼應呢一度就講到喺千百萬咁樣嘅功利性活動者中，或者有一個人會靠覺悟自我成為靈性從靈性自我獲得快樂嘅人 Amaram。
So Shonaka is expressing a kind of bit surprise here. How is this? Somebody's reached this perfection. Why would you bother with this big book?
Shonaka 咧喺呢度表達咗一種嘅驚訝啦。如果一個人佢已經去到咁樣嘅即係靈性快樂啦、自我圓滿嘅完美嘅一個階段，點解佢仲要去睇呢本書咧？
And the answer from Sutta Goswami will come in the next verse, which is a very famous verse.
個答案咧就會喺下一節詩裏面咧去到出現啦，係一節非常之有名嘅詩。
Shall we peek ahead to that verse?
或者我哋
We won't tell. We won't tell
靜雞
anyone.
雞讀埋佢。
We won't tell anyone. Sutta uvacha atma ramascha munayo nirgranta api urukrame kurvantya haitukim bhaktim itang bhuta guno hari. All different varieties of atma ramas, those who take pleasure in atma or spirit self, especially those established on the path of self-realization, though freed from all kinds of material bondage, desire to render unalloyed devotional service unto the personality of Godhead. This means that the Lord possesses transcendental qualities and therefore can attract everyone, including liberated souls.
第十節詩Sutta Goswami 回答說：所有滿足於靈性自我嘅人 Atmaram， 特別係穩定地走喺覺悟自我路途上嘅人，雖然擺脱咗各種各樣嘅物質束縛，但係都渴望為人格守神做純粹嘅奉愛服務。呢一個意味住至尊主擁有超然嘅特質，所以能夠吸引所有嘅人，包括解脱嘅靈魂。
And then in Prabhupada's purport to this verse 10, he summarizes explanations of this verse that Lord Chaitanya gave to Sanatana Goswami. 然之後喺要旨裏面咧，聖帕帕就引用咗主彩坦耶 Mahaprabhu 啦，給佢嘅奉獻者 Sanatana Goswami 所講嘅一個解釋。In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that's described, I think it's Madhya Lila chapter 23 or 24, and he gives 61 explanations of this verse.
我記得係喺呢一個永恆的主宰坦耶經中部嘅第23或者第24章咯。第24章啦，主宰坦耶馬哈prabhu咧就係 引用咗61節詩，61個解釋，61個解釋。
He also gave 18 explanations of the verse to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya.
咁佢又用咗18個解釋咧，向呢個Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya 去講解。
So it's a very important verse because it shows that bhakti is superior to jnana, to impersonal realization.
咁呢啲係好重要嘅解釋啦，去説明咧奉愛咧係高於呢一個嘅非人格嘅思辨。
And Shukadev, he's the test case. He's the one who has achieved this siddha of self-realization, and yet he becomes attracted to the Bhagāvatam.
咁 Sukadeva Goswami 咧就係一個嘅實證嘅例子啦。佢雖然已經去到呢一個完美嘅境界啦，但係佢依然咧係受聖典波迦雅談所去吸引。
So now, if you agree, I will share how Srila Prabhupada spoke about today's verse briefly, one time in Vrindavan.
如果大家 OK 嘅話咧，我想分享一下咧，聖巴奧巴喺 Vrindavan 嘅時候咧，去到講解過呢一個嘅詩節嘅。
Is that okay?
I'm OK。
I'm taking this. There is a recording of the lecture, but also I found interesting Harisori Prabhu's contextualizing of what Prabhupada said.
咁我喺呢一個嘅講課嘅錄音裏面咧，Harisori Prabhu 咧就將聖巴巴所講咧，亦都做一個嘅整合。
So this was in Vrindavan, and Srila Prabhupada was noticing that the flowers being offered to the deities were not so good, they were not so fresh, and he was not happy about this.
咁當時喺Vrindavan 啦，咁聖巴巴咧就發現咧供奉俾神像嘅花咧就唔係咁新鮮，係啦，唔係咁新鮮，所以佢有少少嘅微言。
And sometimes there were no garlands on the deities when the curtains opened. That was
有陣時咧
a
神
big problem.
打開嘅時候咧，神像咧係冇花環嘅。
So Harisori says management is a constant headache for Srila Prabhupada.
Harisori Prabhu 咧就講落去話咧，呢一個嘅管理係經常係令聖巴巴咧係一直都頭痛頭痕。
But in his class, he made it clear that there is a difference between spiritual and material anxiety.
但係喺個講課裏面咧，聖巴巴講到咧，靈性同埋物質嘅焦慮咧係有分別嘅。
So that's the context in which he is telling about Prabhupada speaking on this verse or referring to this verse.
喺呢一個嘅情景之下咧，咁Harisori Prabhu就講到咧，聖巴巴咧就引用咗呢個詩節，講到呢個詩節。
So Prabhupada is in his lecture, he says, so these activities are not material activities.
聖巴巴講到咧話，呢一啲嘅活動咧都唔係物質嘅活動。
Nivritti nirata. We have to stop this material world, material activities.
Niriti nirata， 我哋咧需要咧去到停止呢一啲嘅物質嘅活動。
That does not mean you will have to stop your activities.
並唔係意味住咧你停止活動。
The other part of the activities, they will begin after stopping these material activities.
喺停止咗呢啲物質活動之後咧，會開始另外一邊嘅活動。
And then he quotes a famous verse in Bhagavad Gita, Brahmabhuta prasannatma na sochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. Very important verse.
好重要嘅詩節喺聖典《薄伽梵歌》裏面。
That Brahmabhuta prasannatma, that's describing the Atmarama, the person he's nivritti nirata, not engaged in being not engaged.
咁呢度描述呢個Atmaram 咧，就係咧佢係從事於不從事。
Such a person is na sochati, is not lamenting for anything.
咁咧佢唔會為任何嘅事情咧去到悲傷。
And na kankshati is not hankering for anything.
亦都唔去到渴求。
Sama sarveshu bhuteshu is equal to all living beings.
咁咧佢係咧對於眾生咧係平等嘅。
So with that basis, mad bhaktim labhate param. That person can engage in bhakti to the Lord.
咁呢一位嘅人物咧就可以為至尊者咧去到做妨礙服務。
So like that, Prabhupada is explaining, and the point here is that he's making a distinction between material and spiritual anxiety.
咁就住咁樣咧，聖巴巴咧去到將物質同埋靈性嘅焦慮咧係區分。
Okay, now Harishori Prabhu then goes on to describe how things were going for Srila Prabhupada after he gave his lecture. So he said it was a quiet day, there were no visitors.
咁完咗呢個講課之後咧，咁嗰日咧比較休閒啲嘅，冇乜訪客。
But he had a lot of post mail to answer.
咁但係好多郵件咧係需要回覆。
And one was a package from one gentleman in New Jersey in America.
其中有一個包裹咧係喺New Jersey 新澤西州嗰度送過嚟嘅。
Who had founded an organization called the World Christ Consciousness Organization.
佢揾到一個組織咧，叫做世界基督 World Christ Organization
World Christ Consciousness
Conscious 基督意識知確組織。
And in the package he had some materials he was offering to Prabhupada, and he was very, very respectfully begging for Srila Prabhupada's blessings for this project.
咁咧佢係祈求咧得到聖帕帕嘅祝福啦，祝福佢呢一個嘅項目。
And he asked also for blessings to sometimes quote Srila Prabhupada in his writings, for which he said, I will give full credit.
咁佢亦都希望得到帕帕嘅祝福咧，就有時佢會引用聖帕帕嘅説話啦。佢話咧，我會咧去到將嗰個會去到標明翻係你嘅。
And he had some pamphlets he had made, and these were describing essentially Krishna consciousness and then replacing Krishna with Jesus Christ.
跟住佢就有啲小冊子啦，佢就話：我雖然寫我用呢一個基督嘅字眼啦，去到取代Krishna。
And there were no reference to transmigration of the soul.
不過咧，裡面就冇提到呢一個靈魂嘅遷移。
And it was quoting a lot also from the Bible.
咁佢亦都引用咗好多聖經嘅句子。
But it was saying one should attain divine love by actively serving the Lord with one's body, mind, and words.
一個人應該好積極地啦，運用佢嘅身體啦、佢嘅心啦、靈啦，去到服務得到至尊者嘅愛啦，神嘅愛、神聖嘅愛。
By regularly performing acts of devotion.
去到恒常啦，從事呢一個奉愛嘅活動。
And the best act of devotion was stated to be chanting of the name of Christ.
咁最好嘅奉愛服務咧，就係去到唱頌基督嘅聖名。
And it goes on like that. And then this person, David, he asked two things from Srila Prabhupada.
咁呢一位嘅男士 David 咧就問咗聖帕帕兩件事。
So one was permission to quote from him, as I mentioned.
第一件事就係頭先我講到啦，去到希望得到聖帕帕嘅准許啦，去到引用佢嘅説話。
And also, we humbly request you to accept the post of permanent acharya and honorary chairman of the Board of Trustees of the World Christ Consciousness Organization in perpetuity, means forever.
咁第二個請求咧就係希望聖巴巴咧成為佢哋呢一個嘅組織嘅永恆嘅榮譽呢個信託人同埋呢個 Acharya 創辦靈性導師。
He said, "We offer you this, our humble tribute, in honor of your divine grace."
咁我哋向你致呢一個嘅敬意啦，你聖恩向聖恩你致呢一個敬意。
And he ended his letter by saying he intends to become a life member of Iskcon.
咁最後佢話佢都想咧去到成為 Iskcon 嘅呢個嘅終生嘅會員。
Just to have all of your wonderful books.
就係個條件就係可以得到你呢啲咁美妙嘅書籍。
So, do you want to hear how Srila Prabhupada responded?
咁想唔想聽下聖巴巴點樣回覆佢呢？
Thank you very much for your kind offer to have me as your permanent acharya and honorary chairman.
好多謝你咧，去到俾咗我呢一個嘅即係想俾我呢一個嘅榮譽啦，就係永久嘅呢一個嘅 Acharya 同埋榮譽嘅主席。
I will accept this if your organization and members are agreed to follow the four regulative principles.
如果你同埋你嘅會員啦，肯去到追隨呢個4個規範守則嘅話咧，我就會接受。
And then he lists the four regulative principles.
然之後列出咗4個規範守則。
No intoxicants, including coffee, tea, or cigarettes. No gambling, not even bingo.
咁咧就唔可以食呢一啲嘅麻醉品啦，包括呢一個嘅煙啦、酒同埋呢個茶嘅。跟住之後咧，唔可以去到賭博，包括呢個 bingo 嘅遊戲。
And then he says, I can give you all guidance and direction, for there are millions of Christians in the world today.
我可以咧給予你全然嘅呢一個嘅指引啦，包括咧上成千百萬嘅基督徒。
We are not concerned with how so much as the fact that one must develop his dormant love for God.
無論用啲咩嘅方法都好啦，我哋唯一去到關注咧就係去到發展出培養出對神嘅愛。
This is all right that you will chant the names of Christ, for after all, he was the representative of God.
咁所以你去到唱誦讀啦， 唱頌基督嘅名字啦，冇問題嘅，因為咧其實佢都係神嘅代表。
People are lost due to not following a bona fide religious system.
咁好多人咧，因為冇跟隨一個正統嘅宗教嘅系統啦，而迷失。
If you can revive their God consciousness, that will be very good service.
如果你能夠喚醒翻佢哋嘅呢一個嘅神嘅意識啦，咁咧係非常之好嘅。
And then he discusses another letter, which I won't go into here, but then, let's see. One more letter. Oh yeah, you'll be interested in this.
你應該會對呢個有興趣。
Trivikram Maharaj wrote from Hong Kong.
Trivikram Maharaj 咧喺香港度寫一封信，
where he is attempting to distribute the new Chinese Gita.
佢咧想準備咧去到派發咧中文版嘅 Gita 梵歌。
This was in 1976.
喺1976年嘅時候，
He asked Srila Prabhupada if he should try to start a temple there.
佢就問聖巴巴啦，佢好唔好咧去到開展呢一個香港嘅廟宇。
Although he mentioned that neither the government nor the population was very favorable toward our movement.
咁雖然咧當時嘅政府啦同埋大眾咧對於我哋嘅運動咧並唔係太過支持。
Prabhupada advised him to stick with his original simple objective.
聖巴巴咧就建議佢咧去到跟翻佢係一個原本好簡單嘅一個目標。
Quote, unless there is some favorable opinions, there is no need of opening a temple there.
除非咧有一啲有利嘅條件啦，如果唔係咧就暫時即係冇需要去到開廟嘅。
Unless one understands what is Krishna, they will simply accuse us of having idol worship.
除非一個人除非佢哋咧明白究竟 Krishna 係乜嘢啦，如果唔係佢哋就會將我哋咧視為偶像嘅崇拜。
They must first understand the science of Krishna.
首先咧，佢哋要明白 Krishna 嘅科學。
Then they may appreciate the temple.
咁佢哋先至能夠咧去欣賞到廟宇。
So go on and distribute as many books as possible.
所以咧，你去到派發越多嘅書就越好。
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hong Kong Yatra ki jai. Grantara Śrimad Bhagāvatam ki jai. Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna. Yes, Lena.
Maharaj, I just want to have a tiny clarification on the path of self-realization. You also mentioned it's like stopping from worldly inactivity rest. So to stop the worldly acts, like I pretty well, going on that path, like shopping mall, things like that. No longer attracts me, or I need to go. So is it like very, very subtle to get to the path of self-realization?
Lina 馬一支去問嘅問題咧，就係喺呢一個覺悟自我嘅路途上面啦，去到停止啦一啲嘅世俗嘅物質嘅活動啦。咁係咪好喺呢一個嘅過程裏面係咪好精微嘅咧？
Yes, you could say it's subtle.
你可以話係精微嘅。
Krishna is describing in quite some detail the mood, the attitude of self-realization. Whenever he's emphasizing this upeksha, this indifference and a sense of equally seeing things equally, or seeing different beings equally, that's basically describing this nivritti nirata state.
Krishna 亦都喺梵歌裏面有講咗一啲嘅態度啦、心態啦。咁咧其中一個 upeksha 嘅意思咧就係即係對於世俗嘅嘢漠不關心。咁呢個都係其中一個喺達到覺悟自我路途上面嘅一個嘅特徵嚟嘅。
So, for example, Krishna in one verse, 3rd or 4th chapter, Gita, Jnana Vijnana Triptatma Kutasta Vijitendriya Yukta Iti Uchate Yogi Sama Loshtra Ashma Kanchana. Someone who is fixed in knowledge and realization. Tripta Atma is satisfied in the self.
Krishna 喺梵歌裏面講到，如果一個人咧佢係處於呢一個嘅知識啦同埋覺悟裏面咧，咁咧佢自我咧裏面就已經係滿足嘅。
And kutasta is an interesting expression. Literally, it means standing on top.
佢會係置於一個高嘅位置。
So it means being above mundane distraction.
超然於呢啲世俗嘅紛擾。
And Vijitendriya, having the indriyas, the senses, thoroughly conquered. Vijita.
徹底地去到征服咗、克服咗。
And yukta iti, that person is yukta, that person is really practicing yoga, nirata.
嗰個人咧係真正喺度練習緊瑜伽。
And then sama, loshtra, ashma, kanchana. The example is given of loshtra, ashma, and kanchana. Kanchana means gold.
Kanchana 嘅意思就係呢一個山羊。
And I don't know what's the big difference between loshtra and loshtra ashma. There may be different sizes of stones. They're just stone.
同埋呢一個石頭。
Prabhupada translates stones and pebbles.
石頭同埋啲碎石。
So sama, seeing them all equally. Stones, pebbles, gold, same.
咁無論係石頭啦、碎石啦，黃金啦，全部咧都係一樣嘅。
And then Krishna says, Surin mitraryudasina madhyastadvesha bandhushu sadhushapicha papeshu samabhutir vishishyate. More advanced vishishyate is someone who regards all different sorts of people as the same, whether they are good friends or enemies or neutral, or whether they're sadhus or whether they're degraded people. All of them the person regards as in an equal way. That person is more advanced.
咁對比起頭先嘅嗰個嘅境界咧，更加高個境界咧就係無論係面對於敵人啦、朋友啦、呢一個嘅聖人啦，或者係低墮嘅人啦，佢都係咧一視同仁嘅。咁樣嘅人咧，佢處於一個更加高嘅境界。
But I was thinking about it this morning that in a way what's being described in these verses, Shukadeva Goswami, first Vyasa, then Shuka, they're taking up the Bhagāvatam. This is We could think of this in political terms.
咁我哋可以用一個嘅政治嘅角度去到睇聖典博伽雅談，一開始係 Vyasadeva 啦，然之後咧就係傳到去呢一個 Sukadeva Goswami 嗰度。
To read and to hear Bhagavatam is subversive activity. Subversive. Subversive?
Submersive.
Not submersive, subversive. A subversive act is an act which is undermining or going against the powers that be.
OK， 咁咧呢一個閱讀同埋聆聽聖典博伽雅談咧，係一個好似違抗權力嘅一個嘅行為。
You found
subversive.
You didn't find the word subversive?
係咪
SUBVER.
顛覆嚇，顛覆。
Thank you. Yeah, so I was thinking this is actually what's being described is the subversiveness of reading and hearing and speaking Śrimad Bhagāvatam.
咁頭先我哋讀到嘅呢一度咧，令我感覺當我哋去到聆聽啦、閱讀同埋講述聖典博伽雅談嘅時候咧，都係一種顛覆性嘅活動嚟嘅。
You can say self-realization in general is subversive because it's basically saying no to the whole culture of being consumers, workers and consumers.
咁我哋講到覺悟自我咧，其實都係一種嘅顛覆嚟嘅，因為我哋對於呢一個消費性嘅文化咧，係去到即係拒絕啊 ，say no。
But I was just listening to an explanation of one French philosopher, Michel de Certeau, 20th century author, who was explaining about subversive activity in everyday life. He wrote a book called The Practice of Everyday Life.
咁有一位20世紀嘅法國女嘅哲學家啦，佢寫到一本書咧，講每一日嘅一個嘅練習啊，咁咧點樣去到有個顛覆性。
It gets quite complex, the analysis he's giving.
男士嚟嘅，佢嗰個嘅分析咧係比較複雜嘅。
But the basic idea is there's two things. There's strategy and there's tactics.
一個係策略，一個係手段，技術性。
When there's a military action, there will be, to fight the war, there will be a strategy is a broader conception how we're going to win the war. And tactics are very specific ways of acting.
咁一個就係大嘅即係宏觀啲嘅一個嘅策略啦，另外一啲咧就係微小啲嘅戰術。
But in this context, strategy is what the powers that be are imposing on the rest of us.
咁喺呢度所講嘅策略咧，就係去到即係去到加諸我哋身上嘅嗰啲事情。
It's the whole cultural fabric that we are sort of caught in.
咁就係呢一個文化嘅一個嘅交織啦，我哋就喺裡面。
And much of the time we're not even conscious of it.
好多時候我哋甚至都唔察覺。
But tactics are what we as individuals can engage in to resist this establishment, this big strategy.
咁呢一個戰術咧，就係每一個人作為個人嘅個體啦，可以點樣咧去到攻破呢一個更加大嘅策略。
And the idea is that we can't escape out of this. We are living in society. We have to function, so we can't just completely isolate ourselves.
我哋冇辦法咧，完全去隔絕咗自己啦。我哋仲係喺呢一個嘅社會裏面嘅。
But there's little things we can do which are resisting, which are affirming our higher purpose.
咁但係我哋有一啲嘅小嘅行為，我哋可以去到做嘅就係去到抗衡呢一啲嘢啦，令到以達到我哋更加高嘅目標。
And one way this is explained is in terms of language.
其中一個方法用語言去到解釋。
There's the language. We all agree to the basic tools of a language, the words, and everyone who knows a language, they can use that.
語言裏面咧有一啲嘅工具啦，譬如有字啦、詞啦組成。
But each one of us, we use the language in very, very specific ways, in unique ways, for specific functions and specific situations.
咁但係我哋每一個人去運用語言嘅時候，根據嗰個嘅情景啦，我哋會用唔同嘅方式，自己獨有嘅方式去到表達。
So more to the point, we can use language, Sanskrit language, English language, Guangdonghua, Putonghua, for hearing and reading and discussing Bhagāvatam. So that's subversive.
咁所以我哋可以用我哋嘅語言啦，無論係梵文啦、英文啦、廣東話啦，去到閱讀、聆聽、討論聖典《波迦雅談》。咁呢個就係我哋嘅抗衡啊、顛覆。
And Srila Prabhupada, in the preface of the Bhagāvatam, he famously says the Bhagāvatam can bring about a revolution in the lives of the people.
聖巴巴喺《波迦雅談》嘅前言裏面咧，講到雅談咧可以帶嚟喺為人類嘅生活啦、生命咧帶嚟一個嘅革命。
So yes, back to your question, it is subtle.
所以翻你嘅問題你咁樣睇係精微嘅。
But we can say the substance of the subtlety for us is hearing Bhagavatam, and this is, it's subversive.
咁呢一個精微裏面嘅實質咧，就係我哋去到聆聽聖典《波迦雅談》啦。咁呢一個咧係一個嘅顛覆嘅。
Because in a subtle and very deep way, we question the whole charade of material existence.
咁喺呢一種嘅精微嘅當中咧，我哋去到疑問整個呢一個物質嘅存在。
But we don't just question it; we have also an answer.
我哋唔單止係發問嘅，我哋仲有答案。
And the answer is yes. We have these facility. We have our bodies. We have our minds. We have so much. We have our language. We can use it in Krishna's service.
我哋有呢一個唔同嘅設施啦，我哋嘅語言啦，我哋嘅心念啦，我哋全部都可以用嚟喺 Krishna 嘅服務當中。
Very dangerous teaching.
呢個教導咧好危險嘅。
Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Bol. Okay.